of human life. We're talking about the order of thousands of Ukrainians, 108 children of them, in the middle of Europe.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. My name is Todd David Goldfinger, and here's today's top stories. Is it time to rethink the census and other surveys that measure changes in the U.S. population? Policymakers and demographers have been asking that question since results released by the U.S. Census Bureau this month showed Black, Hispanic, American Indian, and other minority residents were undercounted at greater rates in 2020 than in the previous decade. At the top of it, results from a version of its most comprehensive survey that compares year-to-year changes in U.S. life had to be scrapped because disruptions caused by the pandemic produced fewer responses in 2020. In quotes, the current model of coming up with a master address list, mailing everybody an invitation, like you're inviting people to a party, and hoping they respond. And if not, you're going to track them down. I think it's an obsolete system, end quotes, said Arturo Vargas, CEO of Millennium Educational Fund, a nonpartisan nonprofit that supports Latino political engagement. Next news. School officials in Kenosha, Wisconsin, released surveillance footage that shows an off-duty police officer putting his knee on a 12-year-old girl's neck to restrain her amid a lunchtime fight. The Kenosha Unified School District released redacted footage of the March 4th fight on Friday. It shows Kenosha officer Sean Goodshaw intervening in the fight and then scuffling with the girl before falling to the ground and hitting his head on the table. Goodshaw, who was working as a security guard at the school, then pushes the girl's head into the ground and uses his knee on her neck for about half a minute before handcuffing her and walking her out of the cafeteria. Gerald Perez, the girl's father, has called for criminal charges against Goodshaw for using a type of restraint that was banned for Wisconsin law enforcement officers last year. He said his daughter is in therapy and seeing a neurologist for her injuries. School district initially placed Goodshaw on paid leave. He resigned from his part-time security job with the school on Tuesday, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reported. In his resignation letter, Goodshaw complained that the school district has not supported him and that the incident has placed a heavy burden on his family. The district told the newspaper it would not provide any additional details. It did not respond to messages left by the Associated Press on Saturday. Kenosha police in a statement said, Goodshow is still employed by the department. In quotes, we continue our investigation, paying careful attention to the entire scope of the incident. End quotes. The statement said, in quotes, we have no further update at this time. End quotes. Next news. The Dominican drug trafficker who was jealous of David Ortiz and felt disrespected by him had shot at a Dominican nightclub in 2019. According to private investigators, the Red Sox slugger hired to look into the attack that nearly killed him. The findings by former Boston Police Commissioner Edward Davis, reported by the Boston Globe on Saturday, contradict the theory of the crime developed by Dominican prosecutors. Davis told the newspaper that he identified the drug trafficker Cesar Peralta as having orchestrated the shooting by placing a bounty on Ortiz and sanctioning the hit squad that tried to kill him. Dominican authorities did not cooperate with the private investigation. Peralta is being held without bail in Puerto Rico on unrelated charges of conspiracy to import cocaine and heroin. The U.S. Treasury designated Peralta a drug kingpin in 2019, and he was extradited to the U.S. territory in December. Ortiz's spokesperson, Joe Bearline, told the Globe that Davis's findings were withheld for Ortiz's safety until Peralta was in U.S. custody. Peralta has not been charged in relation to Ortiz's shooting. Peralta's lawyer, Joaquin Perez, said Peralta had nothing to do with the attempt on Ortiz's life. In quotes, as bad as Cesar Peralta is, this is in quotes, it's not even close to being in the ballpark to say he had something to do with this, end quotes, Perez said. Perez described Ortiz and Peralta as close friends, end quotes. Ortiz told the Globe he knew Peralta only casually and that he was sad, confused, angry, all kinds of emotions. When he received the news from Davis and Rick Prado, a former high-ranking CIA official who participated in the inquiry. Next news. 6 people were injured Saturday afternoon after Los Angeles Sheriff's Department helicopter crashed in Angeles National Forest near Azusa, the LA County Fire Department said. All 6 passengers were airlifted to Pomona Valley Medical Center. Sheriff Alex Villanueva told the Los Angeles Times. One of the passengers is in critical condition. 2 are in moderate condition, and 2 others have minor injuries, he said. The Times reported that 5 of the passengers on the Air Rescue 5 helicopter were deputies with the Sheriff's Department, and the 6th was a doctor from UCLA. The passengers suffered a variety of injuries, including fractures and broken ribs. In quotes, they are in stable condition, some more banged up than others, but thankful to be alive, end quotes. Villanueva told the Times. The fact that there were no fatalities, in quotes, is nothing short of a miracle, end quotes. The crash occurred at 4:58 p.m. near the San Gabriel Reservoir, which is near Highway 39 and East Fork Road near Azusa. The Times reported that the Green Air Rescue 5 helicopter was responding to a call for service in the area at the time of the crash. The San Dimas station received a call that a helicopter went down at 4:58 p.m. Sheriff's Department said. The damaged aircraft is now lying on its side in Azusa Canyon near the San Gabriel Dam. Multiple emergency vehicles are at the scene. The rescue helicopter makes hundreds of flights annually into some of the toughest terrain, often flying into narrow canyons and dealing with difficult topography. The helicopter crew has, in quotes, saved thousands of lives over the years. Villanueva told the Times. The National Transportation Safety Board has launched an investigation into the crash, spokesman Eric Weiss said. We're going to take a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black woman nominated to the Supreme Court, is going before the Senate Judiciary Committee with the path to her historic confirmation seemingly clear. Committee hearings begin Monday for the 51-year-old Jackson, federal judge for the past 9 years. She's expected to present an opening statement late in the day, then answer questions from the committee's 11 Democrats and 11 Republicans over the next 2 days. She appeared before the same committee last year after President Joe Biden chose her to fill an opening on the Federal Appeals Court in Washington, just down the hill from the Supreme Court. Testimony will give most Americans, as well as the Senate, their most extensive look yet at the Harvard-trained lawyer, with a resume that includes 2 years as a federal public defender. That makes her the first nominee with significant criminal defense experience since Thurgood Marshall, the first Black American to serve on the nation's highest court. The American Bar Association, which evaluates judicial nominees, on Friday gave Jackson's its highest rating, unanimously. Quotes, well qualified, unanimously. Janet McCarthy Wallace, General Counsel of the NAACP, said she's excited to see a Black woman on the verge of a high court seat. In quotes, representation matters, Wallace said. In quotes, it's critical to have diverse experience on the bench. It should reflect the rich cultural diversity of this country. End quotes. It's not yet clear how aggressively Republicans will go after Jackson, given that her confirmation would not alter the court's 6-3 conservative majority. Next news. It's become almost commonplace viewing. A woman nominated for the Supreme Court appears before the Senate Judiciary Committee. 4 of the last 7 nominees to the High Court have been women, but Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is the first Black woman to be nominated for a seat on the nation's highest court. Senators and Jackson will give opening statements when the hearings begin Monday. She'll face 2 days of questioning on Tuesday and Wednesday. Americans who are just engaging in the process should expect to see Democrats who control the committee praise Jackson, 51, for her sterling resume and extol the historic nature of her nomination, fulfilling a campaign pledge by President Joe Biden. It remains to be seen how Republicans will handle the situation. Questions are sure to be raised over Jackson's work as a defense lawyer earlier in her career, and Republican senators have repeatedly invoked Jackson's support from progressive groups that GOP leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky called farthest left activists, in quotes. Jackson's confirmation would not alter the current 6-3 conservative majority on the Supreme Court, so there may be reasons for Republicans to blunt their attacks. Senators know that the public is watching, but as the nomination hearing gets going and lawmakers seek to probe the nominees' views, they often slip into using legal jargon and refer to past Supreme Court cases in shorthand. It can sound as though they're talking in code. Next news. Surprising advantage Democrats gained during the torturous process of rewriting the nation's congressional maps may be short-lived, creating the potential for more frequent clashes over how political power should be distributed across the United States. As the once-a-decade scramble to draw new legislative lines, a process known as redistricting, near its conclusion, Democrats have succeeded in shifting the congressional map to the left. The typical U.S. House district now comes close to matching President Joe Biden's 4 percentage point win in 2020. Though the impact may not be seen in this year's voting, as Democrats face uphill odds to maintain their House majority. Party leaders believe the new maps would make it easier to take the chamber in more favorable elections. 2 major states, North Carolina and Ohio, are already poised to redraw their maps in the next few years. Several cases at the U.S. Supreme Court, meanwhile, could dramatically alter the rules that govern map making nationwide. Those twists could ultimately transform redistricting into a regular political brawl that consumes state capitals already gripped by partisan tensions. Next news. In the court of public opinion, like the Supreme Court nomination hearings coming this week, politicians ask questions of witnesses to score points for their side. In the court of law, judges ask questions to get answers. That difference will be on display as Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson fields loaded questions from Republicans and Democrats, the former mostly opposing her nomination, the latter favoring it. But the distinction between political and judicial inquiry has already been lost as Republicans in the days before her hearings selectively cited her record to try to make a case against her. They're treating questions from her judge's life over the years as statements of opinion to portray her as an outlier, not deserving of a seat on the High Court. Their assertions on this front don't stand up to scrutiny. GOP Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri, in quotes, Judge Jackson has opined there may be a type of less serious child pornography offender. A less serious child porn offender? End quotes. Tweet Wednesday. The facts. She opined no such thing. She asked questions about it. Jackson was vice chair of the U.S. Sentencing Commission when it held the hearing on sentencing guidelines in 2012. We're going to take a short break from the daily English global news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium TV 24 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of the news. Ukrainian authorities said Sunday that Russia's military bombed an art school sheltering some 400 people in the port city of Mariupol, where heavy street fighting was underway weeks into a devastating Russian siege. The fall of Mariupol would allow Russian forces in southern and eastern Ukraine to link up. But Western military analysts say that even if the surrounded city is taken, the troops battling for control there, block at a time, may be too depleted to help secure Russian breakthroughs on other fronts. 3 weeks into the invasion, Western governments and analysts see the conflict shifting to a war of attrition, with bogged down Russian forces launching long-range missiles at cities and military bases as Ukrainian forces carry out hit-and-run attacks and seek to sever their supply lines. Ukrainians, in quotes, have not greeted Russian soldiers with a bunch of flowers, end quotes, President Volodymyr Zelensky told CNN, but with weapons in their hand, end quotes. Moscow cannot hope to rule the country, he added. Given Ukrainians' enmity towards the Russian forces, the strike on an art school was the second time in less than a week that officials reported an attack on a public building where Mariupol residents had taken shelter. On Wednesday, a bomb hit a theater where more than 1,000 people were believed to be sheltering. Next news. More than 8,000 people are attending an open-air concert in the German capital to express their support for Ukraine. The Sound of Peace concert at the city's landmark Brandenburg Gate on Sunday features German music stars such as Marius Müller-Westernhagen, who was to perform his iconic song Freiheit, or Freedom, auf Deutsch in German, violinist David Garrett, singer Peter Maffei, and the bands Revolverhead and Silbermond. Up to 20,000 people were expected at the concert, which started in the early afternoon and was supposed to last into the night on Sunday afternoon. Police called on visitors that the main streets leading to the venue were so crowded that newcomers should look for other ways to get to the concert. German news agency DPA reported. Next news. Nächste bitte. Lagging behind Russia in developing hypersonic weapons in the U.S. Navy is rushing to field its first, with installation on a warship starting as soon as late next year. The United States is in a race with Russia and China to develop these weapons, which travel at speeds akin to ballistic missiles but are difficult to shoot down because of their maneuverability. The Russian military says it already deployed hypersonic missiles, claiming on both Saturday and Sunday to have deployed them against targets in Ukraine, marking the weapon's first use in combat. The Pentagon couldn't confirm a hypersonic weapon was used in the attacks. The American military is accelerating development to catch up. The U.S. weapon would launch like a ballistic missile and would release a hypersonic glide vehicle that would reach speeds 7 to 8 times faster than the speed of sound before hitting the target. In Maine, General Dynamics subsidiary Bath Iron Works has begun engineering and design works on changes necessary to install the weapon system on 3 Zumwalt-class destroyers. Next news. Lona Fartukova has been coming to Berlin's Ukrainian Orthodox Christian community every day since she's arrived in Germany 5 days ago from war-torn Kiev. The 20-year-old refugee has been attending daily prayers for peace and helped organize donations for her compatriots back home. On Sunday, Fartukova joined dozens of other Ukrainian worshippers at a red brick stone church in the German capital who sang together, lit candles, and received blessings from the head of the community, Father Oleg Polyanko. Later, they put medical crutches, sleeping bags, diapers, big boxes of gummy bears, and countless jars of pickles, which were piling up everywhere inside the church, into big cardboard boxes to send to Ukraine. In quotes. It's some help for our army, and it is a lot of things for children. End quotes, said the university student who fled by herself and is now living at a hotel in Berlin, as she stacked boxes onto the church pews. In quotes. It is so good that a lot of people support us. We really appreciate it. End quotes. Across Europe, Ukrainians gathered for church services on Sunday to pray for peace in their war-torn country. Newly arrived refugees mingled with longtime members of Europe's 1.5 million strong Ukrainian diaspora at houses of worship all over the continent, from Germany to Romania to Moldova. We're going to take a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. A car slammed at high speed into carnival revelers in a small town in southern Belgium early Sunday, killing 6 people and leaving 10 more with life-threatening injuries, authorities said, adding many others were lightly injured. In quotes, "What should have been a great party turned into a tragedy," said Belgian Interior Minister Annelies Verlinden. Prosecutor's office, which gave the death toll, also said 2 local people in their 30s were arrested at the scene in Strepe Brock, I can't pronounce that, 50 kilometers, 30 miles south of Brussels. Prosecutors said, in the early stages of their investigation, there were no elements to suspect a terror motive. In an age-old tradition, carnival revelers had gathered at dawn, intending to pick up others at their homes along the way, to finally hold their famous festivity again after it was banned for the past 2 years to counter the spread of COVID-19. Some dressed in colorful garb with bells attached, walking behind the beat of drums. It was supposed to be a day of deliverance. Instead, said Mayor Jacques Gobert, in quotes, what happened turned into a national catastrophe, end quotes. More than 150 people of all ages had gathered around 5 a.m. and were standing in a thick crowd along a long straight road. Suddenly, in quotes, a car drove from the back at high speed. And we have a few dozen injured and unfortunately several people who are killed, end quotes, Gobert said. Driver and a second person were arrested when their car came to a halt after a few hundred yards, further on. Next news. This part of Maceió, the capital of Brazil's northeastern Alagoas state used to buzz with the sound of cars, commerce, and children playing. It went silent as residents evacuated en masse, eager to escape the looming destruction of their homes, which were cracking and crumbling. Beneath their floors, the subsurface was riddled with dozens of cavities, the legacy of 4 decades of rock salt mining in 5 urban neighborhoods that caused the soil above the settle to and structures atop it to start coming apart. Since 2020, the communities have hollowed out as thousands of residents accepted payouts from petrochemical company Braskem to relocate. Few holdouts remain, several of whom told the Associated Press they imagined the ground under their feet resembling Swiss cheese. Still, Paulo Sergio Do, 51, said he will never leave his home in the Pinheiro neighborhood where he grew up. In quotes, the company can't impose what it wants overnight to do away with the lives and histories of so many families, end quotes. He said in an interview outside his home. Braskem is one of the biggest petrochemical companies in the Americas, owned primarily by Brazilian state-run oil company Petrobras and construction giant Novo Nor, formerly known as Odebrecht. Next news, please. Hong Kong's leader said Sunday that the government would consider lifting strict social distancing measures as new COVID-19 infections in the city continue trending downward. In quotes, I wouldn't promise now that there's room for adjustment, end quotes, Chief Executive Carrie Lam said. In quotes, but following a review, we have a duty to account for the findings in this review and the direction we will take, end quotes. Hong Kong is in the middle of a massive outbreak, recording over 1 million total cases in the city of 7.4 million. The city has been hit hard, with mortuaries full as they try to cope with a high number of deaths. Hong Kong has so far refrained from a strict city-wide lockdown like those that China regularly imposes to control the spread of the virus. But new infections in the city have been declining. In early March, Hong Kong reported more than 50,000 new infections in one day. On Saturday, it recorded 16,583 new cases, in quotes. Having gone through the peak that you have seen here, I think a responsible government should regularly and vigorously review these measures to see whether there is room for adjustment, end quotes, Lam said. Next news. China's health authorities reported 2 COVID-19 deaths on Saturday, the first since January 2021, as the country battles its worst outbreak in 2 years, driven by a surge in the highly transmissible Omicron variant. The deaths, both in northeastern China's Jilin province, bring the country's corona death toll to 4,638. Both fatalities occurred in eager elderly patients and were the result of their underlying conditions. Xiao Yahui, an official with the National Health Commission, told a news briefing on Saturday. One of them had not been vaccinated for COVID-19, she said. 3/4 of the new 2,157 community transmissions reported Saturday came from Jilin. The province has imposed a travel ban, with people needing permission from police to travel across borders. Nationwide, China has reported more than 29,000 cases since the beginning of March, including those without symptoms. This has been the daily global news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you for joining us. Please log in to get the latest news updates on all of our social networking sites. That means Facebook, where you can comment and share, Twitter, where you can do who knows what, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Also, our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. On YouTube, we're News Channel M24. Viewers, now on both network broadcasting, Android and iOS devices, not just, also Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment, news, views, editorials, current events, and our Millennium TV apps. Check out the apps, they're very cool and they work. Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google us please. And if you're on the web, go to your browser and put in www.millenniumnews24.com. Please stay with Millennium News 24. We love you. We thank you. God bless us all. Thank you. Peace be with you.